So, Anita, what does all this talk of tariffs on Canada, Mexico, China all mean? I have no idea, but fortunately, we are joined now by Dominick Tavella, who is CIO, of Lebenthal Global Advisors. Dominick, thank goodness you're here to explain everything to our viewers. What does it mean in practical terms for ordinary Americans like me and all our viewers if these tariffs are imposed by the incoming president?
Yeah, so that would actually be the worst case scenario, right, Jonathan? In this case, both Mexico and Canada deliver a great amount of goods, manufactured goods into this country. And if those kinds of tariffs are imposed, either the company importing that product into our country has to eat that tax, or that tax gets passed on to the consumer, and that's very inflationary. So if you think about the auto industry, which really dominates exports out of Mexico, dominates exports out of Canada, the cost of those vehicles could theoretically go up significantly to the consumer, which would be inflationary, or a GM and a Ford, a Stellantis, they would have to eat those costs, which means their profits would go down. So if they were imposed, there could be really significant economic implications.
Yeah, and we have a graphic here of some of the kind of products that might be affected. You were mentioning cars, obviously, also computers, avocados. Now, I don't have a great concern about avocados or strawberries, but you start touching my tequila and beer, and I'm going to get pretty upset about that. But do you think, Dominick, that this threat is merely a negotiating ploy and we will never actually see those kind of tariffs? Or do you think there is a real chance that they might happen?
No, I honestly think the first. I think this is President-elect Trump's negotiating style. You can see it already. Trudeau down in Florida. We've had a response from the president of Mexico. Nobody wants this. We have a free trade agreement actually negotiated by Trump that's worked extremely well. No one wants this tax being paid. And don't forget, these countries themselves could reciprocate and tax our goods and services. Again, nobody wants an economic war, especially with two of our best trading partners.
And so it does seem to be effective in getting everybody's attention. Prime Minister Trudeau trotting down to Mar-a-Lago pretty darn quickly after the president-elect made the threat. If it's that simple, Dominick, why haven't other presidents done it?
Well, clearly the Biden administration had a very different policy, and we saw what happened, especially with illegal immigration into this country. President Trump has really put an emphasis on stopping this, or at least slowing it down as much as possible. We cannot do this by ourselves. I don't care what anybody says. We need help, and that means both on the Mexican border side and the Canadian border side, we need their officers, their military, their government to assist us in this very important project. And frankly, they're going to cooperate. They have to cooperate.
And Dominick, quickly on the BRICS countries that Mark Meredith was talking about, the threat to not abandon the US dollar. What does that mean for ordinary consumers, if anything?
Today, nothing. The BRICS are Brazil and Russia and India and China, and they're trying to create their own economic unit. And part of that is not to have to rely on the U.S. dollar. There are all kinds of global implications to that. They've been talking about creating their own currency. It's very difficult. And more important, the world economy basically runs on the dollar. So even if they were to create something on their own, it'd be very difficult to implement outside of their own unit. We don't think that happens anytime soon.
Dominick, I feel so much smarter having listened to you for the last 4 minutes. Thank you so much for being here.
Very kind.
Dominick Tavella. All right, Anita.